what's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the TGC Summer Anniversary Series here in 2025. This should be day 13 if my counting is correct, and this is obviously already a very different thing I'm doing here because, as you can see, there's no face cam at all. I just recently, yesterday at the time of recording, have had some very annoying and frustrating technical issues that might result in my pretty old computer really needing to be replaced pretty soon. But as I figure out a way to deal with that later, we move on and we improvise and do things a little bit differently. You know how it is. So, today's video is going to be slightly different. Obviously, I've been talking about, for some of these videos, my favorite albums of all time, and I did that even yesterday with Best Intentions by We Are the In Crowd. Love that album. A great pop punk record from a very underrated pop punk band. In saying that, today I'm going to be talking about actually my favorite band, Against the Current, and while my favorite album from them is Past Lives, their 2018 basically full-blown pop record, I'm also going to do an idea I've had for quite a while, where I wanted to do another basically full discography ranking, like Tyson and I did for 3 Days Grace. I'm going to sit down and do that here with Against the Current. Now, things are going to be a little different because Against the Current's discography is quite different. I'm going to be doing Infinity, Gravity, In Our Bones, Past Lives, Fever, and then they also just recently released a bonus tracks EP. That's literally what it's called, is bonus tracks. And I'll also include that just because I don't know if it would really be considered. I don't know if most people would consider that because it's literally just B-sides from over the years. Just 4 of them. But I'll include it anyway. And you know what? I wasn't going to do this, but I'll also include Chrissy's first solo album, 7. Because why not? Where else am I going to get a chance to talk about it? But first things first, we will start off chronologically, and we have Infinity. Now, Infinity... Oh, I guess also I should mention before I do, I've got my typical tier list where I've got Platinum, Gold, Silver, Bronze, Aluminum, but instead of Trash, I went with Copper, because Tyson made a joke about he and his friends playing darts, having tiers and shit, and they had a Copper tier be their lowest tier, and I don't know, I thought it was funny thinking back on that moment, and yeah. Plus, who likes Copper? Pennies. Some countries are getting rid of their 1-cent coins, you know what I mean? Like, who likes Copper? Anyway, whatever. Yeah, Copper is the trash tier, but don't worry, I love everything Against the Current's done, or at least like everything they've done, so nothing is trash tier. But we move on. The first thing to talk about is, of course, Infinity, their first EP. And this one is one that I like, but I don't love. I've never been a huge fan of this first EP from the band. It includes the title track Infinity, Something You Need, Comeback Kid, Another You Another Way, and Closer Faster. They're all good songs, but I don't find myself coming back to them whatsoever. And honestly, some of them, at the time I'm recording this, I really couldn't even tell you how some of these songs go. I do think they're pretty weak and forgettable, but that just goes to show that they genuinely did improve with everything else they've done. And, like, they're not bad, but you can tell that, like, I'm calling them weak. In me calling them weak, it's mainly just a way to say, like, you can tell, like, these songs were written by kids. They're good for what they are. They were good for the time, but I don't think they're anywhere close to being the band's strongest material. And like I said, it just goes to show that they improved with everything after. But Infinity is still good. I stand by that. I think it's good. But I'm going to put Infinity in the Bronze tier. And there's not much else I can really say about that, to be honest. But we will move on to the Gravity EP from 1 year later. Infinity came out 2014, and then Gravity came out 2015. And Gravity came out with a couple more songs. We have the title track Gravity, we have Talk, we have Dreaming Alone featuring Taka from 1OK Rock, we have Paralyzed, we have Fireproof, and we have Brighter. And of course, Brighter is an interesting one because it would also get re-released on Inner Bones, and I don't know why they did that, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. Gravity, I think, is a step up from Infinity. I like it more. There's songs I still come back to this day, even though I got into them quite a bit later. But still, I still come back to some of these songs. I think they're very good, and I think a lot of these are much, much stronger. My favorite on here is Talk, which is one of the few times I actually agree with giving the band the pop punk label, which again, I've said this before, I don't really understand how they've ever gotten the pop punk label. Like, I know that they had some, like, pop punk contemporaries. Obviously, they have the connection with We Are the In Crowd, with Will and Mike being brothers. But, like, against the current, I mean, I don't know. Outside of songs like Talk and Good Guy, I really don't think they've ever tried to be a pop punk band. So, do they really only get the label just because of, like, their contemporaries? Really? Like, I don't know. But whatever, that's a different conversation. Talk is my favorite song on the record, though, but the title track, Gravity, is also very strong. I like Paralyzed and Fireproof. Brighter's okay. I've never been a huge fan of the song, but Brighter's okay. And Dreaming Alone, unfortunately, I do think is my least favorite. Like, it's still a good song. I still listen to it occasionally, but I definitely come back to it probably the least. But again, I think Gravity is a solid, like a very solid step up in quality from Infinity, though I am going to put it in the same tier, but it's above Infinity in the bronze tier. And then after that, we have their first full-length album, of course, after they signed to Fueled by Ramen, and that is In Our Bones from 2016. It's got 12 songs, including the re-released Brighter, and this song, or this album, is very, very good. Again, it's not my favorite, as I've already said in this video, but I think it's good, you know? Like, it kicks off with Running with the Wild Things, which is a great opener. It is still a very good song to this day. But then we open up and but then after that, we get a bit poppier with Forget Me Now, which is another song I love a lot. Then we have Chasing Ghosts. Then we have One More Weekend and In Our Bones, Young and Relentless, Runaway. Like, there's this stretch of 4 songs right here. One More Weekend, In Our Bones, Young and Relentless, and Runaway, which I think is just so, so good. I love all 4 of those. And it might be like the strongest 4-song run that might be the strongest, like, stretch of songs on this project for sure. I love those 4 a lot. But then Brighter's still good. Then we have Wasteland, Blood Like Gasoline, Roses, and Demons. And I like this album, and I think it's very good. And again, I think it improves on Gravity. But I still don't love it. And I do find myself not wanting to come back to the entirety of In Our Bones, unfortunately. Like, my favorite songs for sure are, like, obviously Running with the Wild Things. I like Forget Me Now a lot. One More Weekend, In Our Bones, Young and Relentless, and Runaway. Those are definitely some of my favorites on the album. But I do think some of the others are a bit forgettable, unfortunately. And there's some that are just, like, I'd never come back to. But again, I do think In Our Bones is a step up. And that's why In Our Bones is going into the silver tier for me. But then after In Our Bones, we have 2018's Past Lives, which, of course, now we know that at the time, Fueled by Ramen literally told the band that they had to make a pop record. And you know what? I think they fucking killed it. I think they killed it. I love this album. It's the one I come back to the most. And from Strangers Again down to Sweet Surrender, we have 11 songs here. I like every single one. My favorite is Friendly Reminder. But I mean, again, I love Strangers Again. Like, there's something about that chorus that just gets me going. The fuss is super fun. Same thing with I Like the Way. Personal's good. Voices is good. I like Scream a lot. Almost Forgot is good. PATT is a great song. A great song with a good message. Friendly Reminder, like I said, is my favorite. Come Alive is very strong. And then Sweet Surrender ends things on a pretty good note for the album. Again, like, I love Past Lives so much. Like, I come back to it all the time. It's one of my, as I said earlier in the video, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. And this is where I will also do a very quick ranking of the songs. Very quick. Like I said, my favorite, my number 1 is Friendly Reminder. My number 2 is, honestly, probably I Like the Way, followed by Strangers Again, maybe Voices next, and then maybe Almost Forgot, then The Fuss, then Personal, then PATT, then Scream, then Come Alive, then Sweet Surrender. I'm not going to think too much on that, but that is a very quick ranking that you'll see on screen, obviously. But I'm not seeing any of that because of my technical difficulties. But regardless, yeah, Past Lives is very good. I love the album. It's my favorite, and to me, it's a gold tier album for sure. But then after that, we wait a few years, and we eventually get Fever in 2021, which Chrissy said in an interview at the time that Fever was originally meant to be half of an album, and as far as I know, we still have not gotten that other half of the album. Which I assume is probably something to do with Fuel by Ramen and dealing with them. I don't know for sure, but that's just speculation. That's what I think on the matter. But Fever is very strong. It's the most rock influenced they've ever been. It's the heaviest they've ever been. When Chrissy talked about the band working and writing with members of Bring Me the Horizon for this EP, I guess technically, is what it is. When she talked about working with members of Bring Me, I mean, you can tell, genuinely. I also think it's some of the strongest material that the band's ever worked on, ever written. That Won't Save Us is so good. Weapon is a killer track. But then again and again with its feature is great. Jump is good. Shatter is a nice slower song. Burn It Down is my favorite. And then Lullaby, like, I love so much. It's a killer closing track, and I love Chrissy's vocals on it, especially with specific lines in the song. Like, it's like Fever is such a good EP, and I wish we could know what the other, like, half of the album was gonna be. Like, have those songs been released? Were the rest of the songs Wildfire, Blindfolded, Good Guy, and Silent Stranger? Like, I don't know. I wish that we could at least just kind of get a little information on it. Like, have those songs been released? Or is there still something holding it? Like, I don't know. But yeah, like, Fever is very strong. I don't like it quite as much as Past Lives, but I do think if it was like if we had the full picture, if we had the full record, I do think it'd probably be my favorite and the absolute strongest in their catalog. But for now, it'll also go in gold, but for me, it's behind Past Lives. Album 7 from last year. And this is also 7 songs. And we have the opener, But What If I Fly? Then the lead single, 7 Minutes in Hell. Pick Your Poison. If Looks Could Kill, You'd Be Right. Some Like It Hot, and I Tried to Act Your Age. And it's a very good album. For a solo project, it's very good. And you can tell, like, this definitely kind of continues where they were going in Against the Current. You know, it definitely feels like a bit of a continuation from Fever and the singles that they released after Fever. The vibes are still there. But as of right now, I think my favorite's probably If Looks Could Kill. But I definitely recommend checking this out. It's a very good album from Chrissy. For me, 7 will go in gold, but below Fever. And we have their 2025 EP, 4 songs, bonus tracks, and they're all B-side. We have Zombie, Still the Night, Eyes Like Guns, and NIJI. I don't know if that's supposed to be letters, an abbreviation. A lot of the lyrics are not in English. Chrissy is singing in another language. And instrumentally, that song, by the way, like, it's great. I love the vibe of it. But it is one I couldn't imagine going back to all that often. But I do love the instrumentals. And even, like, hearing the lyrics that I don't understand, I still like. Zombie is definitely my least favorite on this. There's just something that doesn't really click for me. Kind of like some of the songs on Infinity and Gravity. Zombie doesn't totally work for me. Like, I still like it, but I probably wouldn't come back to it very often. But Still the Night and Eyes Like Guns, I love both these songs. I think they are great songs and easily could have been, honestly, killer tracks on In Our Bones and Past Lives. So I love those two, easily my favorite. But as a very small B-sides EP, this one I will also, well, because there's 2 songs I really like a lot, I will actually put it in silver, but below In Our Bones. But yeah, that's really all that I got, to be honest. We'll run through it. We talked about Infinity first, and that, along with Gravity right after. Those 2 EPs are both in the bronze tier. Then our silver tier is In Our Bones and bonus tracks. Then gold tier is Past Lives, Fever, and 7. So yeah, I think that's good. I think that's where I can leave it there. That was me ranking basically the entire Against the Current discography. At least their official EPs and albums. And yeah, I love this band. They're literally my favorite band at this point, and I think a lot of the material is very good. I think more people should check them out, and check them out for more than just Legends Never Die. But that's all I got right now. That was another episode of the TGC Anniversary Series, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, comment down below, share it up on social media, do all that good stuff. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.